It's hanger time with Blender Boy and Badger. We're ready for another great show. I hope you guys are ready.
All right, welcome to episode 6 of Hanger Time. I'm your host, Mike, aka Blender Boy, and my co-host with me today is Dwayne the Honey Badger.
Hello.
And our guest speaker this week is Garret Holtgren.
Hey guys.
How you doing, Garrett?
I'm doing well. How about yourselves?
Pretty good. Glad to have you on board today.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Happy to come on and spend some time with you guys.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have a lot of fun today.
What do you got there this week?
Not much. I've been so busy this week. I haven't been able to do much. I flew the 130X a couple times yesterday. It was really nice yesterday. It was like 40 degrees and no wind. So, got that. And I did get the Goblin 500 the other day. I've been slowly working on that, but like I said, I've been busy running errands and working on other stuff that I haven't had time to really sit down and work on it yet.
Yeah, and you know my same story here. Weather. Nothing but wind. You know I fly smaller models, so unless it's under 10 miles per hour, I'm not flying, and we haven't had a day yet that's been under 10, so no flying for me either.
Really?
Yeah.
Still windy, huh?
Pretty much. We, northeastern Missouri, and I lived in South Dakota, then I lived in western Illinois, and now here. And it's just this upper prairie, lower prairie section. The wind this time of year is just terrific.
How long do you think it lasts for? Like
July.
Really?
No,
Until it's hot?
Probably about May. Yeah, it'll start slowing down in May.
Well, once it starts warming up, the wind stops blowing.
Yeah, if it's normally probably like last year I know it was May, but it was really warm last year, so it was actually closer to April. But I've been talking to locals who've lived here longer, and they said right around May is when the wind starts to calm down.
Yeah. Here
you'll still get your occasional windy days, but not every day in a row.
Yeah. Here it's just snow and cold. It hasn't been snowing lately, but it's just been fairly cold. It's starting to warm up a little bit, and some of the snow is finally starting to melt, so hopefully that'll keep up. And we usually don't get too much wind out here, but I'm living in a huge bowl of mountains, so it's usually not too windy unless I'm heading out west towards Wendover or over the Salt Flats and the the Bonneville Salt Flats and the Great Salt Lake.
Right.
But I'm sure Garrett might be the same way too, because I know he lives just on the other side of the mountain to me.
Yeah, our weather's changed a lot recently. We used to have cold and wind pretty much all spring. Actually, 2 years ago we had a snowstorm in the middle of May. We were sitting here saying, "I thought it was spring. It was supposed to be. I thought summer was coming next."
That's how it was here, not last year, but I think it was that same year, 2 years ago. In April, late April, there was a huge snowstorm here, and it's...
Yeah, we used to have pretty much, we'd have some pretty heavy snowstorms all the way through at least March, definitely into April, but last couple of years we've had pretty mild winters. This year we had more snow. Last year we got nothing, but this year we got quite a bit of heavy snow. It was actually one of the first years we had snow over Christmas that I can remember for quite a while. Had a pretty heavy snowstorm right over around Christmas and New Year's, and about the last 2-3 weeks now it's been really nice, just occasional cold days here once in a while, but this weekend today got up to about 60. I think we hit about 65.
Wow.
Pretty much calm, but that's the warmest it's been for a while now, but
that's amazing that it's so much warmer over there than it is over here,
Yeah, we get typical. I mean, pretty much everybody says this everywhere, but Colorado is really known for its extremes. We can have literally negative degree temperatures one day and 60 degrees the next. It's pretty crazy the weather that we'll have. We'll get snow one day, and then the next day it'll be completely melted and all gone. You won't even know that it snowed the day before. So
Wow.
It can change. We had probably middle of January. We had a frigid Arctic front come in that we had negative temperatures for a while, and then a few days it was back up to 60 and sunny. So you just you never know. We don't trust our meteorologists around here.
Yeah, I'd imagine that sounds pretty interesting, because here for the last 3, maybe 4 months there's been over a foot of snow on the ground that hasn't melted. I haven't seen grass in probably 3 months,
Wow.
and it hasn't been above, 38, 40 degrees. It's been the highest it's been in months. The average has probably been in the 20s.
Yeah, we've had winters like that. One, probably the last one we had was about 4 or 5 years ago. We had a really pretty heavy blizzard come through right around the middle of December. I actually remember because I was driving back from California and stayed the night in Utah, and it was we woke up to about a foot of snow on the ground and sort of stayed ahead of the storm coming into Colorado, and then the next day it hit us hard. I think we got close to 4 or 5 feet.
Wow.
And, just pretty much overnight we were digging out and pretty much none of our none of our neighborhoods get plowed, so we were pretty much snowed in for about a week, and that snow hung around for a long time because if it comes in December, it's usually a couple months before it can melt, whereas if we get a heavy snow in like February or March, it melts pretty fast. So
I just hope Al Gore isn't listening, because I just want to point out that Hanger Time does not support global warming. We're neutral on the topic right now, so.
yeah, tomorrow we'll probably have more 20-degree cold and snow. So
Yeah, exactly.
But definitely when we get heavy snow, I'm in Fort Collins, which is about 60 miles north of Denver. So we're right at the base of the foothills to the Rocky Mountains. So we're sort of up against the mountains, but we're not really in the mountains. We're still at 5,000 feet, so we do get quite a bit of wind at times that comes right over top of the mountains, and it'll just blow hard as it comes down onto the plains. So it'll get windy at times, but our bigger problem is when we get really heavy snowstorms late in the season. We have a pretty good sized river that comes down out of the mountains that runs right through town, and the mountains will get 20, 30, 40 feet of snow for all the ski resorts and everything up there. They're loving it. But then once it melts, then we get flooding coming down in the spring, and then it's washing out all of our rivers in the town. So
Oh, wow.
it's crazy. Sometimes in the spring we get a lot of water through here.
Yeah, I'd imagine. You guys are probably always staying green, huh?
Yeah, well, sort of. We go from green to brown
Yeah,
very
yeah.
quickly.
That's how we are. Because last year we were in a pretty bad drought. I don't know about you guys, but
Yeah,
we
it
didn't
was.
get
It
much.
wasn't bad. It's definitely our rain has changed a lot. Several years ago, it was pretty much every night we were having thunderstorms and good sized good rainstorms come in, and throughout the last probably 5 years, it's been pretty dry. So we get a rainstorm. It's an occasional occurrence.
Yeah, the weather definitely hinders the flying outside, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Around here, it's mostly the wind. It'll get to blowing sometimes. Like I said, this year hasn't been too bad, but sort of like Dwayne said, we'll have wind that'll start in early spring, and sometimes it won't end until April or May, and then usually the summer's pretty nice, and then it kicks up again in the fall. So it's real temperamental flying.
I'll
Yep.
bet. So, should we get into the news?
Sure. Today's show is brought to you by Wings for Wishes out of Montana. You guys can look up Eric Kendall on Facebook. Also on our Facebook page, RC Hanger Time. There'll be links to more information. It's a great cause. Please check it out. Thank you.
All right, so this week in the news, the biggest thing that's going down this week is that Hanger Time now has its own Facebook group where we've been getting members joining and thinking of, yay.
Yay! The crowd
Applause,
goes wild.
The applause light comes on in the background.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're not that advanced yet. I just kind of do it by feel, and if I feel we need an applause machine, I go for it.
Yeah. So we're hoping to grow that and not compete with anybody, like I had mentioned before, and we have our own direction and goals that we want to try to accomplish, and so we started with a Facebook group, and eventually, I'd hope that it would evolve into a website and an actual forum instead of Facebook, because a lot of times Facebook, not everybody uses Facebook, so you're kind of hindered on the amount of people that you could have in the group, and forums are a nicer feel for this kind of stuff too, because you can get more users and more like subtopics. Not everything is just piled into one page. You know what I'm saying? Everything can be split up into its own topic. Like you want to talk about airplanes, there's a section for that. You want to talk about helicopters, there's a section for that. You want to talk about, off-topic, political, religious stuff, there'll be a section for that, and off-topic.
Right.
You know what I mean? Rather than just being all out there into one section for everybody to read, you can just pick and choose what you want to read out of the forum.
But our group is more along that lines in general, where imagine you're spending a Sunday afternoon at your local flying field with your buddies. Not every word that comes out of your mouth from the time you get out of your truck to the time you pack up at the end of the day is RC related. You may talk about how's your wife, how's the kids, how's the family, how's that new garage you're putting in. It's basically a bunch of guys who enjoy RC. 75 to 90% of the topics are going to be RC, but we also encourage just talking to your fellow hobbyists about their personal selves, getting to know each other, becoming friends, which is what our page is about.
Yeah, and I love that about the group and the direction that we're going in that. I'd rather be a tight-knit group with less people than having millions of people that in there that you can't keep up with everybody.
Or they sit there and they're afraid to say anything, or they feel overwhelmed, or somebody's bearing down on them. Exactly.
Yep.
We do want to thank. We checked our stats. We have users from across the world. We are international now. We have. Mike was telling me we have listeners from Australia. Where else, Mike?
Hang on one second. I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah, we'd like to thank all our domestic listeners and our international listeners.
Yeah, it's fairly interesting to see the geography of the downloads and the visits and listens that we've had. Of course, our majority is the USA, and we've got our second biggest is actually Australia. They give us a lot of listens. We've had so far almost a quarter of the listens come from Australia, and then you got Canada and Deutschland. Wow. The Dominican Republic's got a couple. France has a couple. The UK's got a couple. Ireland.
Well, I have a Canadian friend and two Australian friends. I wonder if they're our listeners because I give them links, and I wonder if that's it.
Probably, and there is a couple in China as well.
You got me interested. I just once in a while I pull up. I have Google Analytics on my website, so I can see different what people are searching for and where they're coming from and so forth. And I just pulled up mine for my website, and it looks like I've had visits from 95 different countries. So.
Wow. And I just want to say to our Chinese listeners, we love your products. I order a lot of mine from Hobby King. I have no problem with any of your products so far. They've all worked fine for me. So I just want my Chinese listeners to know that.
Yeah, Agent Orange is treating you well.
Because who knows, one of our listeners in China might be the same person who put that transistor in Agent Orange last Christmas. So
yeah, surprisingly,
thank you.
I was just looking here. It looks like we have visits from 6 continents. So apparently, I haven't had anybody from Antarctica, pulling it up yet. But
so I had that, and then I do have one other thing I wanted to bring up. Looks like there's a new helicopter coming out on the market. It hasn't released yet. It's a brand new company, and it's called Epic Helis. You can find them at epichelis.com, and so far they've got only 2 helicopters available. They've got a 700 and the 800, but it's actually one helicopter. So you have the 700. If you buy the 700 plus the 800 conversion kit, you can either make it the 700 or the 800 sized. It'll come with the boom, the torque tube, and all that to stretch it to be an 800 size. And you just throw on some 800 size blades for it, and you'll have an 800 size helicopter, which is kind of neat that that they give you the option to make it either 7 or 800 sized. So
there you go.
The price point on that is $8.99 for the kit, which is
$9.
No, $899.
Oh, okay.
For the rain's all over that if it was $8.99. I think you should contact the company so you can get a special price.
Yeah.
I would have gone all out and bought maybe 3 of them.
For an 800 size heli. You know how big an 800 size heli is, Dwayne.
I'm guessing it's bigger than $9 helicopter. Then
Yeah,
I'm
you're
guessing it's
looking
pretty
at
big.
you're looking at
Yes,
you
it's
know a
bigger than a
1600.
700, smaller than a 900.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. That's Mike's response. How'd you cut that with a knife? No thanks. What kind of paint is that? It's silver. Well, thank you, Captain Obvious.
I do what I do. But
You do it
anyways,
well.
that's all I got. Did you have anything else?
I got tape.
Nice.
Tape. I decided to go. I'm not going to mention the company online because they're not a sponsor. I'm not giving a free plug, but it's a local hardware store. It's one of the big three out of the big three hardware stores. They sell Scotch electrical or orange or vinyl electrical tape. It's the 35 series. It's the professional grade. It goes down to 32 degrees Fahrenheit to 221 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's the really good sticky vinyl tape, not the ones you wrap on. It's already peeling off. But they have new colors out now. They have Dayglow green.
Nice.
They have that cosmic yellow, that bright sunspot yellow. But the most importantly, they have the safety orange. And they come in, I don't know, a 66-foot roll for about $4. And they have blues and reds, and they have black and brown, white. And I mean, it's not the cheap stuff you buy at Walmart, 4 rolls for 22 cents or whatever it is. I mean, this is the good stuff that will stick to your models. So if you're just looking to do some lightweight, inexpensive pinstriping on your planes, or you want to add some color, some contrast to the underside of your plane as opposed to the top side of your plane, look into it. The store that it comes from that I founded it, HD. That's their initials. But yeah, for $4, 66 feet. I mean, I can do all my planes and part of myself in safety orange and be a happy camper.
Nice. So my biggest question is, does it match Agent Orange?
It's close. I mean, Agent Orange is transparent,
Yeah.
so it's a lighter orange, but it does match my extra 300 quite well, and it matches. I mean, it's a hunter safety orange. It's a safety orange, and it goes pretty well. It goes pretty good. I like it.
So we should look out for pictures of you wrapped in this electrical tape soon.
$4 a roll. I don't know if I need more than one roll. I think for myself because I'm a pretty big guy, and 66 feet might not do it. But
Well, you could
you might see armbands, wristbands, maybe a little homemade necklace, a hat, maybe.
Yeah, you
I
could
might
do your
accessorize
helmet.
You might have to
Yes,
splurge and go for 3 rolls too to match his 3 helicopters. You know.
Yeah.
There you go.
Is this bright orange and green tape OSHA certified, Dwayne?
Oh, you would ask. I know not FCC certified. No, it doesn't say anything about OSHA on there, so no, unfortunately. But it is made in USA. It's
So
made
don't
by
wrap
Scotch.
don't wrap yourself in it. Go running out into traffic is what you're saying.
Yes. I would not do that. I would not also expect it to protect you from any forms of radiation, chemical spills, or anything like that.
Oh, so it's not a protective agent against Agent Orange.
No.
But you
like I
could
said,
cover the Mylar helmet in it, and
I
you
was
could.
gonna say better stick to the tinfoil for that.
yeah. Well, I was just thinking, for that, I was just going to put the Mylar inside of a traffic safety cone and start wearing that. That'll be cheaper too.
There you go.
But again, made by
Okay.
Scotch, professional grade, 3M, orange vinyl electrical tape.
Nice.
1 inch by 66, or 3/4 of an inch by 66 feet. Perfect
Does it
for
stick better?
pinstriping.
Does it adhere better than just basic electrical tape?
Yeah. I've used this version of the black stuff they've had for years, and this is like when they do car stereos, anything like that. I mean, this is the stuff that once it sticks to each other, it's pretty hard to get apart. So yeah, it's really adhesive. Like I said, it's not the cheap stuff you get at the dollar store or in Walmart's little electrical section back there. This is the good stuff.
Nice. I might need to get me some of that Dayglow green.
Yep, shows you could use it to wrap tennis rackets, bicycle handlebars, anything. So there you go. That's my big news, my new product that I found this week. I was walking through looking for lighting for my fish tank, and I saw that, and I mean, I just had to stop the presses and grab me a whole bunch.
Gotcha.
That's all I got.
Yeah, that's all I got as well. So,
We're going to be dropping our one section. Since our forum today is our new group is new, we don't have any really new news to our group.
yeah, the hot topic of the week.
The hot topic. Our hot topic discussion will be focused on RC Hangar Time on Facebook pages from now on. It is just started up, so we don't have any new hot topics yet, but we do need members. We do need likes. And like I said, it's a really fun place, guys.
Yep, soon enough there will be a hot topic. I mean,
So-
it's for as new as it is, it's doing fairly well. We've had a great response, and I appreciate everybody for coming over and supporting us. And
Last I looked, 30 active members.
yep, everybody's
Active members.
been
30
coming in and posting and checking, and it's been really good. I really hope that we can keep it up, and the newness doesn't wear off.
And speaking of active members, we got with us today Garret Hutgren. He's with Altitude Hobbies. Garret, if you can please tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from. We already talked a little bit about it. What got you into the hobby? What some of your favorite flying styles are, your favorite planes, and then we'll talk about that business you got going there.
Yeah, you bet. So yeah, like I was saying earlier, I'm in Fort Collins, Colorado, which is about an hour north of Denver, about 60 miles north. We're about 40 miles from the Wyoming border, so like I said, it can get windy at times, but it's a nice area. If anybody's familiar with Fort Collins, it's one of the bigger cities in Fort Collins. We've been expanding a lot, so it's starting to get more well-known throughout the country. But when I was looking to start a business, obviously the name Altitude Hobbies came to mind because we're at 5,000 feet. We're a little bit lower than Denver, but it's definitely the air is much thinner up here, and everybody always asks. Our engines run differently up here, and we definitely have to pick different props on our planes. Everything has to be much bigger to get the same kind of performance out of it. So
Also, your cakes
everything's
are different.
overpowered.
Your
I'm
cakes
sorry, what was
are
that?
different too. Your boxed cakes are different. If you look, there's actually 2 instructions on a boxed cake which you buy. If you're above 3,500
Oh,
feet,
yeah, the
you have
flour.
to add or take something out of it. And if you're below 3,500 feet,
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it won't rise at our altitude.
Yeah,
my wife didn't follow that one time when we were living in Rapid City, South Dakota, and the cake looked like a hockey puck.
Yep.
the water boils a lot faster up here too.
Yep.
Yep.
We're in, I can't remember if we're in California or Hawaii once, and we were trying to boil some water, and we're sitting around saying, how long does this take?
People down there, the peasants down below us. So how old are you, Garret?
I'm 20, I'll be 21 here in a couple months, so I started flying when I was 10, so I've been in it about 11 years now.
No wonder you sound so young.
I didn't realize you were so young. I figured
30. I
mid-late
thought
20s.
30 or so.
Yeah, you seem to be doing very well and very successful for as young as you are. Most people don't have that type of motivation at your age.
Yes, I'm very impressed now. Wow. Very, very impressed. Congratulations.
Yep, right after this podcast, I gotta go study, so.
Are you in school as well?
Yeah, I'm a student, so yeah, I do lots of stuff. I keep myself busy. I'm a pretty much full-time student. I run my business. I'm also work for a retail store here in town that I actually started working for when I was 16, just doing as a sales associate. And then when I started my own business, I actually went back to work for this store as a graphic designer. So I just work a few hours a week there doing design newspaper ads, mailings, website, email marketing, stuff like that. So
Nice.
So is that your major also?
no, actually, my major is in Homeland Security Emergency Management, and then this semester I am getting my EMT, Emergency Medical Technician, basic certification. So
Mike, I have to go. I'm gonna have to call this program short, so it's all you, buddy.
Yeah.
He works with the Black Heli people. I gotta go. All right, I'm out of here.
Yeah, you better run while you can.
Yeah, you didn't tell me this. I'm out of here, guys.
So that was Garrett's main purpose for coming on today was to talk
Scare
about
me?
Black Helis and get more info on the infamous Badger.
Scare me, yeah. So
it's a real well-known fact that if you wear a tinfoil hat, that'll protect you. It'll shield you from the black helis.
That's right. So what's your main interest in the hobby as far as type of plane or type of flying or?
Definitely airplanes, mostly aerobatic, but I've sort of been expanding recently, doing more scale stuff. When I got
Great.
into the hobby, electric was pretty much non-existent at that point, or anybody that did fly it, you were using those big old brushed can motors, and I had
Nickel metal
packs that,
hydrides.
yeah, that weighed 5 pounds, and it just it just didn't work. So everything was nitro back then. So I started flying. Actually, the first plane that I had, what I pretty much taught myself to fly on was a Zaggy, one of those foam flying wings that you wrapped in packaging tape. And beat that in the ground a few times before I got the hang of it. And then once I got good at that, I started more into nitro stuff. Got a ultra stick, 40 size ultra stick, and then just sort of moved up from there. Learned to fly at that time. Our club's only field was, and actually we still have this field. It's located pretty much right in the center of town. It's one of the few properties that hasn't been developed in the area. We lease it from a local business owner that has the land that just hasn't wanted to do anything with it. But it's a really small field, only has about a 100-foot runway. It's very, very tiny, very run down, and that's where I learned to fly because that's all that we had. So a few years later, when we got a larger field outside of town that has a 400-foot runway, it was much easier. It helped me to learn to fly in that small field. So started just going bigger. Got into gas for a while. Had a 100cc AeroWorks Edge that I flew a lot and did some competition stuff with that. Flew IMAC for a while. Just never really got into that much though with everything that's going on. Electrics just suit my schedule much better. So that's sort of where I'm at right now. Mostly flying just electrics of really all types. I have aerobatic planes. I got some just sport flyers. Several scale planes. Also been getting into float flying quite a bit recently. Some of the guys in our club got into float flying a couple years ago and started doing that some more with them at a lake here in town. So that's been a lot of fun.
Do you guys do any of the DLG contests up there, the discus launch glider contests?
No, there isn't much DLG stuff around here at all. I actually can only really think of one guy that's in both of the clubs I belong to that really did DLG. And I think I don't know if he still flies anymore or not. I haven't seen him for a while, so there's not a lot of sailplane stuff around our area. The other club in town, where that's nearby town, is a little bit larger. It's called Love Air RC, and they host Warbirds over the Rockies each year. It's a big scale Warbird event. They have a pretty nice field, about 800-foot runway. They do a lot more scale jets, warbirds, and then some bigger competition stuff. The club that I belong to is a little bit smaller, but we have like I said, two fields. One is about a 400-foot runway, about a 90-acre field, so we have pretty good space. But we're a smaller club. We're about 70 members. The other club is about 200. So
nice.
actually,
Yeah, there's not much around us around here as far as large fly-ins or groups like that.
Yeah, I was
Sounds
surprised.
awesome.
Colorado actually has a lot of RC clubs. Most of them are down in the Denver area. There's a lot of clubs down in the Denver area. Pretty good sized one that's pretty well known, especially through AMA and different magazines and so forth, is the Arvada Club. It's called the Arvada Associated Modelers, and it's kind of well known just because AeroWorks, the company AeroWorks, is down in the Denver area, and they fly a lot at Arvada. They sponsor a lot of stuff out of there, do a lot of their test flying and so forth. So
Sweet. Sounds awesome. That sounds really awesome. Yeah, we have nothing. We got a Walmart. We got a Walmart, and we got a hardware store that sells beautiful orange tape. That's it. I have to be honest, though. I have to confess, since we're on here, and I have to confess, I really don't like orange. I just got suckered into it because it was a cheap deal on that radio. But now I have a feeling that color is going to be with me till the day I die. I just had to share that and get that off my chest.
Most likely.
Yeah.
I've always been partial to Kawasaki green. That's why I was asking you about the green tape, because I don't know, there's something just cool about that color.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I like the Kyle green, but I mean, personally, my favorite is the Suzuki Pearl Blue Fluorescent. But I'm stuck with the orange now, thanks to Mike. He's pretty much perpetuated the myth of me and my orange transmitter. But I just had to get that off my chest. It's been bothering me for a couple weeks now.
I'm sure eventually I'm going to have a Kawi green bike. My Kawasaki's black. Somehow I ended up with an all black one. But I have a couple. I have a couple planes that I've painted Kawasaki green just to make up for that gap in my life.
For a while there, I thought that your bike was a CBR because it does look like the CBR, the black ones. Because mine was midnight black.
I was just telling the wife, if I ever get another bike, never red. I've had nothing but bad luck. Two wrecks on red bikes. One almost killed me. Wreck in a red car. Somebody rear-ended me. I have no red vehicles whatsoever. So I don't care if it's Dayglow green, sunburst yellow, safety orange, anything but red. I'll take.
I find it interesting how a lot of people are particular to colors on their models. Certain things show up better in the air, and for some reason, one color I've never liked, and a lot of guys at our club don't like, is yellow. Any kind of yellow plane, it just gets lost in the sky for some reason. So that the Kawasaki green shows up pretty good. You can't miss it.
Yeah, except sometimes against the trees and the backdrops, like it gets a little bit harder to see. And
it's Colorado. We don't have trees.
True. So in some places, I did have, when I'm flying low to the ground or whatever.
You're a helicopter. You're always flying low to the ground.
Yeah, sometimes it does get hard to see. Like my little 130X, it's green with the neon green blades and all that. Right now during the winter is fine, but I'm sure once I get it out on the grass and stuff, I'm gonna have a hard time seeing the disc when I'm chopping up some grass.
So, Garrett, you have Altitude Hobbies.
Yes, I do.
Tell us about that business. What all you offer, what you do, how it started.
Before you get into that,
sure.
I was just curious of how you started the business and what you did to actually start it and all that kind of stuff.
It really it's sort of it's a long story, but not a long story. Yeah, I was working a job that I just didn't enjoy, but I was making pretty good money. So while I was still working that job, I just decided to start looking into starting this business. And I've always been active, I guess you could say, in buying and selling in the RC hobby. I was always very active on RC groups. Not really technically having a business, but various things selling, especially Airtronics. I'm sponsored by Airtronics, so I was pretty active in trying to promote their line of products and help and sell and so forth. So
how did you get sponsored by Airtronics?
It was back when they were coming out with their new radio, their SD10G. They were trying to sort of get the word out about that. It was probably 3 or 4 years ago, I guess. I was flying Futaba, 72 megahertz. I wanted to switch to over to 2.4, and I had flown Airtronics before and always really liked their radios, so I ended up going with the 10G that they were coming out with at that time, and just happened to run across, I can't remember if it was through their website or what, that they were accepting applications for their team sponsorship program. So I put in for it, and they accepted me. And at that time, like I said, I was flying I was flying some competition stuff around the area, flying IMAC and so forth. So got accepted for that, and
nice. So you were really doing the IMAC competitions?
Yeah, well, I did at the time. I don't really do it anymore, but as part of sponsorship, I'm just active on the forums and also through my local clubs and so forth, just supporting the Aerotronics line because I've always been real happy with their products and their business and their support. They're very active, or very good with their support and their business and helping their customers out. So
yeah. Just for the newbies and people that aren't familiar with IMAC, what does IMAC stand for?
It's the International Miniature Aerobatics Club. Basically, it's just competition aerobatics flying, essentially.
It's mostly
IMAC
pattern, right?
Yeah, it's similar to pattern, but it's generally you'll see more aerobatic style planes versus pattern planes. Any of the aero works, edges, yaks, extras. Obviously, Extreme Flight, 3D Hobby Shop, all those planes are real popular in the IMAC world.
Mm-hmm.
You see some pattern guys that'll come out and compete in them too, but basically IMAC is sort of a large organization, I guess you could say, a large club, and then different regions, different clubs across the country can host IMAC events. Love Air, one of our clubs in the area, hosts an IMAC event each year, as do several in the Denver area. And you can download all the aerobatics patterns and so forth online. And basically, you just depending on what class you're in, there's about 4 or 5 different classes of competition. Each one progressively gets more difficult. You study you learn the sequences, the patterns, and then you go out to these competitions, and they have judges. The different pilots can go through judging schools, so you learn how to judge the different sequences and so forth. And then at the end of your flights, it's usually an all weekend event. You fly several times, and then all your scores get averaged, and then whoever has the highest score wins for the weekend. So it's definitely fun. It's a lot of hard work because it's pretty particular. You have to be very precise on your maneuvers. It's definitely something that takes a lot of practice to get down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I fly with Andrew Jeske at my local flying field, and he's always out there practicing pattern and IMAC stuff.
Name drop, name dropper.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of guys get into it. We had I know a couple guys in our club that they traveled around, in several different states, going to these IMAC competitions throughout the year. A lot of guys get big into it, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but you get to know a lot of different pilots from the area, and some of the competitions can get pretty large. So it's fun. But you definitely have to devote a lot of time to it. You got to be out there practicing, as much as you can to really get it down, and that's why I sort of got out of it. I just didn't have the time for it.
Yeah, and you've always got to.
You tell me, full-time student, running your own business, you don't have time to get out there and practice and fly. Come on.
Hey, it could be worse.
Slacker.
You could be married and have kids.
Yeah,
Slacker.
could be. But,
so how long has Altitude Hobbies been in business?
About a year and a half. August 2011 is when I officially opened.
Nice.
Just do strictly online. Never expanded into any kind of storefront. But it's been going great. Business has really picked up in the last year. Obviously, after I started, it was slow for the first. I expected it to be slow for a while, but it actually picked up really fast. For 6 months or so, it was starting to get to the point where I was like, I can make this work. But
and now you're shipping everything out of your own home, and you have everything.
Yep. It's just a home business. Expanding inventory over the last year, really started bringing a lot of new products. People were suggesting, hey, bring in this kind of product, bring in that kind of product. When we first started out, I was just really focusing on electronics, which is what I mainly do now.
Yeah.
But we're mostly just selling, a single line of motors, single line of speed controllers, things like that. And over the past year, I've expanded a lot more. Number one, a larger inventory, but then just a lot more offerings and different price points, different features, and so forth. And then we've added a lot more parts and accessories, and then also multicopters as well is something that I've expanded to in the last year. And obviously, multicopters is what the hobby's going for right now. Everybody's really getting big into that. So
yeah, the quads and hexacopters and all that are getting very popular.
definitely,
even Traxxas offers a quadcopter now.
Yeah, and I think Traxxas is doing that to get their way in the door of the heli world. I think that's where they're starting, and they may. It's just my speculation, but I see them starting to make, micro helicopters like Blade and all that. So
well, they have a new coax out too.
Yep.
They do.
So I wouldn't be surprised to see more helis from them. They're starting to get into the air, and I think they're just testing the waters with the small stuff.
Yeah, multicopters are definitely what's taken over right now. Everybody is, going for the multicopters. You look, a lot of companies that were not, really going that route have now had to switch and start, trying to make some of that stuff because that's what everybody's buying. And there's a lot of companies that offer stuff now. So it used to be that, when you're getting into multicopters, or just a few set platforms that you can start with, and now it's just like the airplanes and I'm sure helicopters. There's so many offerings that you can, different products and so forth. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Now, are you starting to sell aircraft yet?
No, I haven't gone with aircraft. A lot of people have asked me to. It's just really not. Unless you're doing a really pretty large volume, it's kind of hard to get into aircraft. Number one, you have to have the space to store it, which I don't, and then it requires a lot more, just packaging to send them out. To really get a good price on anything worthwhile, you have to buy pretty large orders at a time. So I've just never gone there. Like I said, electronics is mostly what we focus on. Everything that you need to get your plane running, and. That's where it sort of started with, and that's where we're still at now, and that's sort of what I like to focus on, and sort of gives us an area expertise. I've been in the hobby for quite a while, and then obviously I've been selling this stuff for quite a while, so I like to think that we're a pretty good source for somebody that's either new to the hobby or has a new plane and they're trying to figure out a good power system, a good setup for it. We can try to steer you in the right direction. And so that's where we try to focus on.
I'm always glad to see somebody's small business take off, and especially somebody younger like you. I'm glad to see that.
Yeah, exactly. And that was my next question as well. Is along the lines of that, is do you plan on growing it and maybe possibly having a brick and mortar store someday?
I probably don't. This is sort of I'll admit, this is sort of a temporary gig, but I don't know how much longer I'll own it. It all depends on my plans in the future here, and what works out. But
so
I definitely
might sell it.
Yeah, I see myself selling it.
You can donate to Hangar Time. We'll take care of it for you.
Yeah, I definitely see myself selling it. Probably, like I said, I don't know. Possibly it could be the next year. It could be less, could be more. It's all up to how it goes. But I definitely, it's going to be. I think it's a profitable business. I think it's going to be something that I can definitely sell. And when we do, I'm going to try to find the right owner that will keep up with just what we try to focus on, and that's several things. Just good customer service. With so many companies out there right now, especially a lot of the overseas companies and some of the stuff, the places that are selling budgets products, you just don't get that much anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what I've always found, and it helps being in the hobby for so long, because I see that stuff that I'm active on the forums. I see what people complain about, and I dealt with it myself. Buying different from different stores and stuff and so forth. I see the customer experience, and that's what we really have tried to fit into Altitude Hobbies is being number one, a source of knowledge for customers, but then if you do have an issue with the product, being willing to work with the customer and make sure that it works. And I think that's something that has been lost in not only everything, but the RC hobby especially.
Yeah, for sure.
So
What type of
That's really good.
what type of what am I trying to say? Customer base do you have?
I would say largely it's
Hobbyists,
mostly,
people who
yeah,
fly RC planes and helicopters. There,
Oh,
Mike. What do you think?
oh,
Sorry.
okay.
people that like fluorescent orange tape.
It's the same kind of people who use knives to cut things out, and
Definitely, probably airplane and multicopter guys. That's just mostly what we focus on. Haven't really gone into the actual helicopter side of it, so definitely in the airplane
Yeah,
folks.
I did notice that I did look at your store and see that you do sell the multi-rotor stuff, but I didn't see any helicopter stuff. It's mostly airplane.
Yeah, some of our suppliers do sell helicopter motors, and I've been tempted at times. Unfortunately, I've never been into helicopters, so I don't know a lot about it. So
Yeah,
it's not that I don't want to get into it; it's just that I don't really have a real good working knowledge of it. So I don't want to start selling it and then have people, asking questions and not knowing what's going on there.
yeah.
Um, but a lot of our speed controllers that we sell definitely are the ZTW line. Definitely appeal to some of the helicopter guys as well, especially our new LP series. Have a
Mhm.
lot of helicopter features on them and so forth. So I'm sure I'll start seeing some more purchases for that.
Do they have data logging on those?
Well, they don't right now, but I've been told that possibly in the near future. I can't say much about it, but they might possibly pretty soon here. We've given ZTW several suggestions for some new things that we'd like to see on them and some improvements, and they told me in their next production, which should be out hopefully in the next couple months, that there might be some new features added to them. So
Would that be like a firmware upgrade for the older ones, or is that just a new model?
It'd be a firmware update. So the LP series, they'd probably stay with the same basic layout, same offerings as far as the sizes.
So,
Just be a firmware update, adding
yeah.
some new features and so forth to them.
So somebody with one already, if that does come out, they could just update it and
Yeah,
have data logging available and not
yeah,
buy a new one.
possibly. Like I said, I don't know a lot of the details on it yet. I've just been told some of the features that they might be adding to them.
Mhm.
But yeah, hopefully it would be updatable. But we were happy to see that. ZTW's. We've been real happy with their products. A lot of people like their products, and in some cases, people are running ZTW speed controllers that they don't really know are ZTW, because a lot of times they get relabeled. But they're actually a very popular speed controller. They're one of the best quality out there in the price range. So we've been real happy with their products, and very happy that they've taken some of our suggestions and are willing to listen to us to try to make them more popular with several different types of modelers out there. So
Nice. Sounds good.
very nice.
Yeah, I may have to get in touch with you if you do decide to move on and sell Altitude Hobbies. I've really contemplated it over the last year or so. I really thought about it, but just kind of chickened out with doing it because it is a pretty big a risk to take, whether
yeah,
you don't know if it's going to work or
it's
not. Because
definitely a big undertaking, and upfront, definitely initial investment, just like any business. But the RC business is definitely a hard market to get in, just because there's so many companies out there. You
Exactly.
look around, and there's the market is flooded with different businesses, and then a lot of the stuff too, a lot of the products. There's just, depending on what it is, there's not a lot of markup on some of the stuff. So it's definitely a hard business, but it's a lot of fun. It's obviously any kind of hobby. If you can work using that hobby, it's a good day. So.
Yeah, well, if Blender buys it, your whole model is going to change. It's going to go from mostly airplane
I
to
was gonna
all
say all the
blenders
airplane
within a
stuff's
week and
gonna
a
get
half.
tossed out the back door.
Yeah, there'll be a giant Altitude Hobby clearance sale on RC plane motors, and then making room for the new helicopters to come in.
Well, I don't think I would go that far, but I would definitely add in the heli stuff and focus getting, helicopter products in and that kind of stuff. Plus, being how I'm just right under, Colorado, I could still keep it as Altitude Hobbies.
Exactly. Yeah, that's definitely
So I am
works
still
on
up.
multiple levels because obviously the RC hobby, it's done at altitude, but originally when we came up with the name, it was focused more towards our area.
Yeah.
Sort of gives people an idea where we're located, which is pretty important to us. Being centrally located, it really has worked out well for shipping times and just the availability of products. Because there's a lot of RC businesses that are located on the East Coast, and shipping time really varies on some of those things. So being centrally located, we can ship to all areas of the country and really have it there, quickly. So that's something we've always focused on is shipping time, and trying to keep our shipping prices reasonable, and then also ship as quickly as we can, so our customers can get that product quickly. So
yeah, sounds good. Sounds like a good motto to stand by and do.
Definitely, it's worked out great. Like I said, it's really taken off. We've definitely business has picked up here in the last several months. But it's at a point right now. People are asking us to bring in new products and so forth, and we're bringing in new things. But in some ways, I like to sort of keep it small, just because being able to give our customers that attention, and then just having good customer service and so forth is important to us. And then it keeps it reasonable for the size of it reasonable that we can still handle it. So
yeah.
It works out well, and it's been number one, a great opportunity. But then, like I said, it's been fun. I get to talk with a lot of modelers each day via email, phone, whatever. So it's just a great way to connect with different hobbyists and so forth.
Nice. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of it. Doing it for as well, is to get into the hobby more and meet more people and just be. Try to give back to the hobby, I guess.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Yeah, I got another question too. Have you ever had the irate caller call in and say, "You sent me this and it doesn't work"? And all that? You know what I mean?
No, I actually can't say that I've had anybody be very angry. Trying to even think of any times I've had somebody upset with something. We're pretty like when I set out and chose the suppliers that I wanted to go with initially. I tried to find some good suppliers that had good support, and many of ours do. So if we do ever have an issue with the product, they stand behind it, and then obviously we stand behind it. So if some does get sent out that has a problem.
So what you're saying is you check your products before you sell them. Then you have customer service after you sell them?
Yeah, we don't. We obviously.
How do you do that? I mean, I know I'm not going to mention any companies by name, but there's a few of the offshore companies that I'm sure everybody's familiar with. They seem that they can get along in business and not have any of those type of ideas. How do you do it? I don't get it.
I don't really have the time to be able to check everything that we send out, but obviously, quality control, trying to, make sure that things are good is important to us. Mostly, I've tried to find some suppliers that I trust that I know are doing it themselves, so I don't have to worry about every order I'm getting something that's bad and I need to look for it. So the suppliers that we've gone with are very very good quality, and like I said, stand behind the product. So if somebody does get something bad, and with electronics, you're always going to have a bad one in the bunch. One run gets soldered wrong or something like that, and once in a while I have a bad few here and there. But I've done really, really well in our products. I've had very few issues. Supo, the motors and speed controllers and servos that we sell, are very good quality. A lot of times they're their name isn't real well known in the RC hobby, and I think it should be, because their motors are very good quality. Once in a while I'll have a bad one, and every time I do, I think that, I really haven't had that many go bad. In fact, I was just thinking about it the other day. Their products are probably the main item that we sell a lot of, and we've been selling them the longest because that was the first company that we went with when I was looking to start out. So I've been selling their products since the beginning. Went with them just because they're very easy to work with. And stand behind their products. But since we've been selling, I've really only had probably one or two speed controllers I can really think of that have come back for replacement. Same thing with their motors. I see very, very few of their motors come back. Never had any issues with bearings or magnets or anything being loose. Once in a while, we'll get a motor that just wasn't marked right or something like that. But very good quality, very few issues, and that's what's really important to me, is being able to send out stuff that I know it's going to work, that we don't have to, that we're not going to risk having something go wrong on. So, and a lot of it, to answer your question, Dwayne, a lot of it is just, like I said, being in the hobby for so long and buying some of that product. I hate it when you buy something and you get it and either it's bad out of the package, or you use it for a while and it goes bad, and then the company won't honor it. And I ran into that with a company just recently. You probably saw my post on Facebook ranting about it. I won't say who the company was, but bought a product and didn't have a chance to use it for a couple weeks. Finally got to use it, and first flight it went out. I was having problems with it. Tried to contact the company, and they told me, oh, it's been more than 20 days or 25 days or whatever their policy was, and said, sorry, we can't replace it. And it upsets me, and that's the kind of stuff that I'm not going to do to my customers. If they tell me that they're using it right, and it just was bad out of the package or something happened right after they got it, we send a new one out and make sure to get that replaced, because send out a few products here and there that we have to lose a little money on to send a replacement, and I'd much rather have the customer be happy than say, I'm not buying from there again, it's junk. In all aspects of business, but definitely in the RC hobby, with all the forums we have, word of mouth advertising goes a long ways. So
yes, it does, and that's excellent what you offer. That's excellent. I just
So if I take one of these speed controllers that's rated for 3S and I hook up 12S to it and then fly it through the water because it's starting on fire, would you guarantee that?
I've never really run into that issue. It seems like modelers in general are just very I've never had an issue with it. They seem to be very good with using product as it's supposed to be.
So you mean I can't plug it into a 110 volt plug in the house to test it to see if it runs right? And you won't take it back? Oh, never mind. Here I go, customer service there.
People seem to be pretty good about it. I mean, most people are, they see it as a hobby. They understand that, it's
most of the time, most people know what they're looking for as well. They know exactly what amp speed controller they need and what size motor they need. And
And once in a while, I run into somebody that's new to the hobby that, they bought this motor and they bought this speed controller and they didn't quite understand how to pick the speed controller. Most of the time I watch for it. So if I see somebody buying something that they buy this motor and they buy this speed controller, and it's pretty obvious they're setting it up as a combo setup, I'll send them an email and say, hey, I think if you're using this speed controller for it, it's a little small, I'd suggest doing this, or so forth. And most of the time they write back and say, hey, sorry, and thanks for doing that, I didn't realize that I'm new to the hobby and didn't realize it, or so forth. But if somebody does happen to do that, I've been there. I was everybody starts out in the hobby as a beginner and doesn't quite realize it. So we may not replace it, but definitely we'll give you a discount so you can, get it working right, because everybody's got to learn some way.
Because last year I asked you a couple questions for a motor for my pits, and you were very informative, knew what you were talking about. You had a good deal on the motors, but last year I just didn't have the finances. My wife got a new job and whatnot, and I ended up actually crashing one of my other planes and using the electronics out of that. But your knowledge and the time you spent just explaining the differences in the motors and what would be better for me, that alone I appreciated, and just want to give that plug out there how helpful and how good you were.
Yeah, and I see that too in the group that you're helping that younger kid out with his Super Cub. He was wanting to get a new motor for it and running 3S battery, and you were very helpful and understanding for the younger kid. He's probably I guess he's only a teenager and he's very new to flying.
Yeah, he's like 14 or so. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Garret. I mean, the way he just like one-on-one with you. I mean, some of the bigger companies should look at that and say, you know what, maybe he's on to something there. Maybe they'd have more loyalty and not have so many negative comments in the forums or on pages and on their own websites even.
Yeah, and I'm sure that brings back repeat customers, just that loyalty.
Yeah, it's definitely something. Every business I'm sure would love to do that. There's some that I'm sure won't. They just want to make a buck. But unfortunately, it's some of the places once you get large, it's hard to do that. So that's why I've always like I said, I like staying small just because we can give that personal attention and it goes a long ways. But you just sometimes you can't always do that. You get too large and you just don't have that connection with your customers, and it's unfortunate, but. That's what the forums are for a lot of times. If the supplier can't give that attention to answer your questions or so forth. There's so many people out there on the forums that can answer your questions, and that's what I love about the hobby. There's just a lot of knowledge out there, and a lot of most places are pretty open to especially beginners. If you have a question, number one, there's so much information out there that you can search, but then if you do have a question, you need to ask it on the forums. Pretty much everybody sees it as a hobby. Everybody realizes that they started there somewhere, and it's just a good way to get learn about the hobby pretty quickly. So
exactly, and it's also nice that everybody's so helpful too on the forums and the groups that they'll come up and they'll answer your questions right away. So.
Well, again, I just want to thank you for being on here, Garret. I mean, it's so good to hear how good you're doing. It's a shame that you're going to go for the black heli guys over the little yellow and green and neon orange heli guys. But I'm sure I'm sure though that you'll be a useful addition to that team. You guys know I'm not a big fan of Homeland Security and things like that, but I'm sure you'll be.
Yeah, I'm not going quite that route, so you don't have to be. Okay. You don't have to be too worried.
Okay, but yeah, I'm sure whatever your path goes, you'll be excellent addition. Just the way you run your business and talking to you today. Yeah. I wish you all the luck in the world.
Yeah, Garrett's definitely very bright and definitely has a bright future ahead of him. Sounds like you're very determined, and you got a good head on your shoulders. Most kids your age, they don't know what they're going to do with their lives, and it takes them years to go to school.
Their main goal in life now is to get an MTV reality show. That's kids his age. That's mostly what they think about or worry about, I think, personally.
Exactly.
Hey, you never know. With your guys' help, especially Dwayne, with your help, I might be able to turn this into a reality show. The whole RC business thing. I don't know. I need somebody to pitch that to somebody, and just say
that's what we should do. That would be perfect. RC reality. That would be awesome.
Forget about the podcast.
Well, we could do a part. We could have like newbies coming out, and then we could just film us and new planes, or then like play like plane kamikaze. Like one of us build a plane that's like almost completely unflyable, and say, "Here, maiden this for me, Mike."
That'd probably be a good way to get. There's already lots of problems with the government trying to shut down RC. I think that'd probably be a good way to expedite that process.
We'll just make sure we're cordoned off in a half a mile in all directions, and have orange safety tape all around the perimeter. Orange cones. We'll be all right. Well, that's all I got. Again, I'm just glad you're on. I mean, it's very interesting, very informative, and good business model. Mike, what do you got?
That's about it. I'm glad we were able to get Garret on here, and he was able to come on and share his experience and talk about Altitude Hobbies with us. Just real quick, do you have a quick plug for Altitude Hobbies, an email or website or phone number? How would we get a hold of you?
Yeah, so the best way is through our website, which is just altitudehobbies.com. And then our email is really easy as well. It's just altitudehobbies@gmail.com. And all that contact information's on the website. So if you need to send us a message or whatever, you can do it through the website. But definitely, if you have any questions about products or whatever, easiest to email us. That's what we can respond to the quickest. A lot of people do call, and that's perfectly fine. But not all the time we can answer the phone if we're processing orders or whatever. So also our Facebook page, if you go to Facebook and do a search for Altitude Hobbies, taking a look here real quick. I think it's just, the link is just facebook.com/Altitude Hobbies. If you post on our Facebook page, we monitor that each day as well. So I'm happy to answer questions there, and pretty active on several of the forums also.
And as usual, by tomorrow, we'll have the links to your Facebook page and your website up on our RC Hangar Time Facebook page, and they'll be up there also, too. So you guys can check him out, what we talked about, and everything we talked about on the show today. We didn't talk about too much, just talked about Altitude Hobbies. We'll have Epic Helly's on there. We'll talk a little bit about iMac. Mainly we'll focus on your business this week. And
yeah. And hopefully by the next show, we'll have some more stuff to talk about, since our, the RC Hangar Time group is fairly new.
I just looked, 38 members, buddy. 38 active members so far as of 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, I think it's doing really well, and I'm hoping that we can continue to succeed in that. One more quick question, Garrett. Who do you prefer shipping with, USPS or UPS?
No, FedEx, USPS,
Probably don't want to ask me that question this week. No, we ship everything USPS. Everything goes postal service, and we just do that to keep our prices down. I ship FedEx once in a while. I prefer FedEx over UPS just because it seems like the price is a little bit more reasonable for some of the things. But definitely it's sad to say because of everything that's going on, but USPS is still pretty affordable for what they offer. That being said, last week they raised their prices, and I was pretty upset about it. They're those little we ship international once in a while. We don't ship a lot of international, but those little flat rate DVD size video boxes jumped up $7 overnight. I wasn't too happy about that, but
what were they before? What were they before?
Just shipping products. So those
no. What was the price for the little DVD box before they jumped?
So it used to be, the small flat rate box used to be $16.95 anywhere in the world, $12.95 to Canada, and now it's $19.95 to Canada and $23.95 to anywhere else in the world. And what's sad about it is I used one of those to ship a few products back to one of our suppliers about a month ago, and it has not arrived yet. So needless to say, their tracking on those isn't very reliable. It didn't get delivered, hasn't come back to me yet, and lost $23.95 plus the product. So I wasn't too happy about that. But I've actually done pretty well. All the orders that we shipped out in the last year and a half since starting, I've only had one, believe it or not, one order get completely lost, which I think is pretty good. It happened just this last week. I shipped out an order, and once again, one of those little videotape small flat rate boxes to a customer in Illinois. And he called me about a week later and said, hey, it still hasn't showed up. I checked the tracking, and it shows that it never even got scanned. I dropped it off the post office, and all it said was the typical, tracking information received, and blah blah blah. And I learned the meaning of why they call it going postal, trying to deal with their with their customer service. I spent about probably 2 hours on the phone, just basically get nowhere and say that they think the package was destroyed, and that I'd have to file a claim. So, but I wasn't too happy about that. Their customer service needs some work, and hence why they're $1 billion in the hole each year. But
yep. Well, just real quick.
Overall, their service has been pretty good.
I got a certified letter Friday in the mail. In the back behind the letter, there was a postcard saying, "You have a certified letter for you at the post office." Well, it said you have a package. I thought I thought the card was actually my radio for my radio controlled truck. So my wife goes down there to pick up my package. No, they go, no, the postcard is to tell you that you have the certified letter. She's like, well, the certified letter was in the mailbox with the postcard. And
Yeah.
both of them were dated 4 days earlier than what Friday. They were dated both on Monday. So I got the postcard telling me I had a letter and the letter both on Friday in my mailbox.
Yeah, I could rant on for hours about this experience, but I'll just tell you real quick. It was kind of entertaining actually dealing with them because it was like you're just going in circles. I knew that the package was probably lost at my post office because it never got scanned. So I figured, okay, it probably got dropped out of the box or something while they were wheeling it in the back room. It's probably stuck in a corner somewhere. So I called our local post office and told them to look for it, and they basically told me that that they couldn't just go look for it, that I had to call the 1-800 number and file a claim, that they would get a hold of my post office and tell them to look for it. And after going around in circles about 500 times, they told me to contact another regional office and so forth and so on, which their phone number wasn't even hooked up. And they told me that there was nothing they could do, and yeah, it was not a. I was not very happy after spending about an hour on the phone with those people. But like I said, fortunately, I've only had one package ever get lost, so and I'm hoping I don't have to deal with that again in the future. But
Yeah, that's too bad.
Thanks for opening up new wounds again there, Mike.
Hey, like I said, I have no problems with USPS. I always get my stuff. I ordered, like I said, I ordered the Goblin 500 and from Heli Direct, and it comes from Massachusetts, and I got it in 2.5 days.
yeah, that's
To
one of
Utah.
the main reasons I've always gone post office. Just with most of the orders we ship out is, and that's what we offer for shipping. Is I offer either first class flat rate, which is $3.49 that we charge, or priority mail flat rate, which is $5.75. So depending on how fast the customer needs it, you have two options, and pretty much everything fits into those two size packages that we can send out. So. And the nice thing is, come from Colorado, pretty much everything's 2 days, no matter what. First class, occasionally to some places on the East Coast, it'll be 3 days. But pretty much we can drop something in the priority mail box and have it to you within 2 days. In some places, I've had things get out to even like Illinois and Ohio in 1 day.
Nice.
So they're actually very fast. I've been happy with the service. Once in a while, I'll have one get diverted or something, but usually they get the issue corrected. So. But I wish their customer service was a little better.
Yeah, I agree that we got a new postman here, and the tracking number, I knew when my package was going to come, and I was outside, the other day, and I see him over there loading up the mailboxes. I live in a condo apartment complex, and we have those huge mailboxes where everybody's mail is, and he's loading them up. And before I knew the other mail carrier, I mean, I could always go up and ask him, "Hey, did you get a package for me?" He's like, "Oh yeah, here it is," and he didn't even have to ask my name. But this guy, he didn't want none of that. I was like, "Hey, do you mind if I check my mail?" He's like, "No, you can't touch the boxes." I'm like, "Well, could you at least check to see if I have a package for me today?" And he just ignored me. So I went into the office.
Nice.
Yeah, I was like, okay, whatever. So I went into the office and asked them. I says, "Do you by chance have a package for me?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, here it is." Because sometimes if it's a big package and it won't fit in the box, they'll just put it in the office. So I was like, okay, cool, I got it. So the next day I go to check my mail. The guy didn't even put a note or anything in my box to let me know there was a package up front. I was like, how am I supposed to know there's a package up there if I wouldn't have just knew it was coming that day? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, what they sort of angered me about the first day when I was trying to find this package is you call their 1-800 number, and it's just a continuous loop, and their phone service actually hung up on me, and it was one of those that I was a little torched after that because there's no way to it asks. Of course, it's automated, so it asks you what you want to do. And you say report a lost package, and then it wants you to enter the tracking number, and it has to repeat it about 3 times, and of course it's 20 digits long. So after about a half an hour of just sitting here entering the number 5 times, it gives you no options. It just tells you what you already know, and then if you try to hit 0 to talk to an operator, it just says, "Sorry, don't know what to do. Thank you for your time," and hangs up. And I was like, "You got to be kidding me! Your phone actually hung up on me."
Well, real quick before we go, Paul Rebray, I love using his French Canadian name. Since he's from Toronto, Ohio, he was expecting a package, and he lives 200 yards from the post office. And his package was supposed to show up on the one day. He goes down to the post office and asks them, he goes, "Did my package get here?" It wasn't on the truck. She goes, "Oh, yeah, it's here." So he had to ask her. She goes, "It's here. It's scheduled for delivery tomorrow." He's like, "Well, can I have it?" She's like, "Well, if you want it, I can do that, but it's scheduled for delivery tomorrow." No, what does she think he was there for?
Like, oh, okay, I'll just let you come and bring it to me tomorrow.
It's scary when the average IQ of a McDonald's worker is getting higher than the people entrusted with delivering our mail, Social Security checks, VA benefits, things like that. It's getting a lot.
I do have to say real quick, I won't take much more time about this, but I've been real happy with DHL and UPS service. DHL doesn't do any domestic stuff anymore, but we get a lot of our orders.
I asked about them last week. Last week on our show. Whatever happened to DHL?
We do a lot of all of our suppliers, of course, are pretty much all in China. So all of our shipments and so forth come from over there. And I've been real happy with their service. We don't have a DHL hub in our area. Everything has to come from Denver, which of course it flies in on DIA. And then gets taken up here. So they take out each day when the orders come in. They take packages and they'll load them up and send them up here. And then if you're not home, you have to sign for it. But if you're not home, they actually bring it the next day. So if you're not there to sign for it, you don't have to drive somewhere to get it. They'll just redeliver it. And it's very fast. UPS is the same way on their international shipments. We'll get large orders from our suppliers. I've actually had on several occasions a UPS package get shipped from China one day on Monday and have it on Wednesday. Believe it or not, I've had 2-day service from China, which is pretty much unheard of. You'll check the tracking and it'll say it's in China one day, and then Alaska the next, and then Colorado the day after that. It's pretty crazy sometimes.
Took 11 days to get my extra from Paul in Ohio here in Missouri. 11 days USPS.
So yeah, it's pretty bad when UPS and DHL can send things international faster than a lot of domestic places can get it 60 miles down the road.
Yeah.
Yep.
So just out of curiosity, while we're on the subject, what is the furthest or strangest place that Altitude Hobbies is shipped to?
Ooh, boy, I've had a lot of weird ones.
Like South Africa or whatever,
Yeah, I just shipped something to Thailand the other day. Gone to Argentina, Brazil. I did have a couple South Africa orders. Germany.
Didn't you have somebody asking for lipos being sent over to like the Middle East or something? Lipo batteries overseas, and they got mad at you about it or something because you didn't?
I can't remember. I might have had somebody.
I think I was joking you about it. They were probably making a suicide vest or something, and they couldn't get lipos over there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember specifically if I can't remember that exactly, but yeah, I've had several orders go to some odd places.
Let me rephrase that real quick. Didn't you have that in one RC group somewhere? That somebody requested lipo batteries overseas?
Yeah, I've sent things to all over Europe. I've had Germany and Switzerland and all sorts of different places, and then like I said, South Africa, Argentina. I have actually one customer that in Argentina that buys from us quite a bit. In Australia as well. I have several Australia customers.
Yeah, I don't think there's much flying going on in Antarctica.
You never know.
Yeah, you got those. The Russians have a base, and we got a base down there, so you never know. The French have a little tiny base. They might send a little drone out in the summertime to get a better idea. Well, that's all I got.
Yeah, that's looks like all I've got as well.
So thank you again, Garrett. It was awesome.
Yeah, you bet. I'm happy to be on, guys, and thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time and coming on and talking to us. I know we're a small market, and but we hopefully we can help get the word out, and it gives us a topic to talk about as well, and people that are loyal to Altitude Hobbies. It'll be nice to actually hear who they're getting their products from, and who it is that they're actually dealing with.
Yeah, you bet. I know a lot of our customers definitely listen, and then a lot of our customers are from the various Facebook groups and so forth. So we thank everyone for their support, and definitely it's a great way to get the word out. And a lot of our customers and a lot of our businesses come from here. So.
Yep, exactly. So that's all I got. I guess we'll see you next week.
All right.
Yep, have a good one, folks. All right, guys, that was another episode of RC Hanger Time with Blender Boy and Badger. Don't forget, you can email us with suggestions or comments or hate mail directly toward me at rc.hangertime.com@gmail.com. You can also like our Facebook page. Just search for us, RC Hanger Time. We have a comment section there also. We'd love to hear from you guys.